allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone, and welcome everyone watching at home. Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Trustee Harn.
Present.
Trustee Gett.
Present.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Present.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Present.
Trustee Reiger. Trustee Carter.
Okay, we do have a quorum. Item 4 is approval of the Board of Trustees minutes for Tuesday, January 15th, 2019. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I have a motion, a second?
Second.
And a second. Any questions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, any correspondence?
I have no correspondence, Mayor.
Okay. Right on to announcements. One announcement I'd like to make that we are planning an Easter event, an Easter egg hunt, which will be Saturday, April 20th. And it's a community event, so we want everyone to try and turn out for that. Details will be on the website. Next, before we get to trustee reports, I'm going to vary a little bit from the order of business. I know Joan Krupa is here tonight. She's up for reappointment to the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District. But Joan, you wanted to give a quick update. I know you have another engagement you have to be at, so please come forward. Take the mic, please.
Good evening. I'd like to first thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the Village Board for inviting me tonight. I'm honored to be your representative for the past 4 years as the CityLink representative from the Heights. And I'm very happy to have with me tonight to introduce you to our CEO at CityLink. If you'll stand up, Doug. Doug Rolfs has all the answers that I don't have. So, and I have 5 minutes, so that's not very long. And as a point of information, I do have a very important engagement. My granddaughter is playing in the sectional. Before the final sectional, the sub-sectional at Chillicothe tonight, and I have my grandma hat on too, so excuse me, but I really do appreciate your having me here tonight. I'm proud to be your representative because I believe that CityLink is doing an outstanding job of bringing transportation to our community and surrounding communities. There are really 3 bodies that make up the Greater Peoria Mass Transit District, and one of them is Peoria Heights. And they joined, and visionary leaders over almost 50 years ago in May of 1970 to come together to really meet a need. And we've seen that need grow over the years. We've seen our numbers go up and down, often related to the gasoline prices, but always with the idea of serving people that wouldn't be able to have transportation otherwise than CityLink. We have a para-transit district that has 36 vehicles that does door-to-door service for disabled people and people with special needs. And we also have 46 35-foot buses that go here and there. And you probably have seen our green and white buses that are diesel, and also they are electric, and we have what you'd call a hybrid, and we would really like to see more of those, but they're quite pricey, and so we are moving in that direction as quickly as we could. Just to let you know, too, that up here are some facts and figures that you might like to know some more particulars about CityLink. CityLink is sort of the nickname. Our logo is CityLink because Greater Peoria Mass Transit District is just too long to say. But CityLink does, as I said, a very good job, and I believe that we can do a little bit of bragging because we were named, and there's an article on the front page of the Journal-Star in December that said a little bit about why we were named as one of the top districts in terms of ridership and services. So I'd like to, is it possible to ask for questions from the floor, or do you folks have questions for me within my 5 minutes?
Any questions, folks? Guess not. I know you're here tonight to talk about transit, but you also sit on our arts committee, so I want to thank you for that. I know you've been very instrumental in that committee too, so
thank you. And I will say that last week we became one of your sponsors in terms of advertising, and so you will see on the buses that go by, at least 5 of them will have information about the event in May, which we are cooperating with the Komen Foundation, and we will be offering some transportation to and from the art fair from the Komen, and we're very excited about being a partner with you on that.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, on to trustees' reports. The first is Economic and Community Development. Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to report this evening.
Okay, Trustee Carter is absent for Police. Chief Sutton, anything you'd like to report?
Yeah, just a couple of things, Mayor. I just want to give an update to the board and the community regarding the landlord registration program. Starting next week, our building inspector will start inspecting properties, rental properties. So we'll be reaching out to the landlords to set up dates. So that'll be next week. And if you have any questions, please reach out and call the police department. You can ask for either myself or Shane Murphy. Someone will help you do that. The other thing I have is just a reminder to the community that, you know, Peoria Heights, to solicit in Peoria Heights, you have to have a permit. We're getting a lot of complaints and a lot of calls, which I appreciate, because we do locate these individuals and educate them on our procedures and what they need to do to solicit in the Heights. But we're getting a lot of those recently, some with good intentions, some with less good intentions. So I would just like to remind you that if you are getting approached by a solicitor, they will have to have proper documentation to do that. And if there's any questions, please reach out to us. Call the non-emergency number. Please don't let these individuals into the house until you confirm with us they are legit. We've already had a couple issues after the fact that these individuals have gained entry. It's nothing to be alarmed about, but I just want the community to know that we do not allow soliciting unless you have a permit. So if you need any more information on that, please reach out. All right.
Any questions? Okay. On to building and property maintenance. Trustee Gett.
Thank you, Mayor Phelan. We've had an issue with our roof over the rubberized roof, and that the company it's out of warranty from the company that installed that roof. We're looking to get it fixed and corrected. You got anything to add to it, Chief?
No, we should have some long-term solutions next week. I know that we had a local construction company come in and look at it. I think there's some things we can do to stop the issue, so we should have more information on that next week. So.
It was pretty tough. That ice storm and everything really kind of put it to its test, so we'll have it taken care of.
Any questions for Trustee Gett? Okay. We'll skip fire since Trustee Reichert is absent tonight. I don't see anyone from the fire department here, so we'll move on. Public Works, Trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Phelan. The only thing I have is our guys have been working their tails off. It's just been nonstop with the snow and the ice, and our guys work 7 days a week. So when they're on call, 7 days a week, just because they're up all night, they still go in the next morning. So just wanted to say thank you to them and keep up good work. And I don't know if you have anything, Mike, you wanted to talk about.
No, it's just supposed to snow again, so tonight, so we'll see what happens, maybe a little ice, but they do have salt, so we're still safe for now, so. But just, we're doing what we can, so we're keeping up with it, so.
We're actually kind of chewing through our salt, Mike was telling me.
Going a little bit.
You have to buy your next year's salt now. So you have to look to like tomorrow, say, and say, okay, I need this many tons for next year.
For next year.
And and then you have to take delivery. So
you bought it already,
if you bought it, you have to take it. So it's kind of a guessing game, but we're covered. There's nothing to worry about. So.
Good to hear. I echo your comments about Public Works. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Any questions for Trustee Harn? Okay, on to Administration and Personnel. Trustee Diane Mariscal.
I have nothing tonight to report, except for what we'll talk about later.
Anything from you, Dustin?
No, I'll mention it during later in the meeting.
Okay. So we're at comments from the audience. Comments are now open. If you try and keep your remarks to 5 minutes, please. And when you come forward, give your name and address. And any comments from the audience tonight? Hi, Shirley. Welcome.
Shirley Fowler, 1130 East Euclid Avenue. We were passed out some flyers in our neighborhood, and I don't know who they came from. Someone was telling us, did you know about the new restaurant event center, whatever it is? And they had it all, pictures of the design and all that kind of stuff, and they passed it out in my block. The 1200 block of Euclid and Kingman, both. And then maybe some on Prospect. So I don't know who they were from, but they mentioned the meeting tonight, so we thought maybe perhaps there was something else to be discussed
Okay, well, we're
about
glad to
it.
see everybody so we can get people the right information.
Right.
The village didn't hand those out, but I can tell you that this will go through the zoning board, so all property owners will receive a formal communication from the village. Everyone will be legally notified when it goes to the zoning board of appeals. But Greg Berkland, did anyone on your team hand those?
No.
I think it might have been one of the neighbors, if I'm not, if I'm correct, but I don't know who it was.
Someone over on Prospect.
Oh, okay.
Came around on Sunday and handed them out.
Yeah, Ellen, you got one too, I'm assuming, yeah. Yeah, so there's neighbors here tonight that don't know anything really about what was going on.
We'll give you more time, Shirley, but Greg,
okay.
you want to come forward and give an update, please? Greg Berkland, who's the point person on the development. And Shirley, you're welcome to come back when you're ready.
Oh, I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, all. I had a conversation with Shirley at our last village, and we actually discussed about upcoming meetings, and at that time, we had discussed maybe late April timeframe to get everyone together. Just kind of bring you up to speed, we are not doing anything this spring or even summer on the pump house. It's going to probably be a late fall, possibly even a 2020 early spring time frame before we do anything. So that's why I really hadn't reached out to Shirley at all to get together people to talk about it. Shirley was going to be generous enough to get around to neighbors and put everyone together so that way we could have a meeting. But we're going to have our meeting now. So a couple of things. The pump house, we wanted to purchase it, but mayor and the village thought it'd be best to keep that piece of property as an asset for Peoria Heights, which we agree wholeheartedly. So we're actually leasing that. I did sign the papers for that a while back at the last meeting. So we will be leasing that property. That lease, if I'm not mistaken, is a 30-year lease, and the village has total rights to what we do there as far as improvements. If we get out of hand, anything else like that, they have full compliance to shut us down. But we're not looking to be shut down. We want to be good neighbors. It's going to be a very, very quiet, quaint little restaurant that we're looking at. I am going to go ahead and start kind of cleaning the place up a little bit, even though we're not going to actually do any construction on the inside or anything else like that. I will go ahead and start doing some outside renovations to spruce it up. So just being good neighbors. But I just want to kind of go through some of the things. One, we still have to go through a zoning, so it still has to be zoned. Two, we still have to get a liquor license. So there's definitely some hurdles that we have to still go through before we actually even open up a restaurant in there. again, we're always open. We want to have open dialogue. I mean, I'm here. I want to listen to everybody. I've met with Susan today, which she's not here, but I did meet. Oh, sorry. So I did meet with Susan, kind of let her know exactly what's going on because she has some concerns, just like everybody else does too. So I definitely want to have an open communication. So that's why I was waiting on Shirley to get all of her neighbors together before we actually sat down. Do you have a question?
I was waiting on the storms to stop.
Yeah, exactly. No, I know that was our conversation. Then I think I had another email conversation with another young lady this morning that was, she thought that things were happening that shouldn't have been happening, or things are moving along faster than what they were. So I referenced you in that email. So
That's fine.
I do have a question.
yes.
The paper that was put out, there's nothing on there that you can't see online. You can go to YouTube and get your design and everything that was laid out. But my question is, like, really close to the property line to the south, to the west, you've got like an outside fire pit.
Okay.
Close to the lady's house, to the first house. Is that correct? Is that design?
It's just a sketch. It's nothing as far as in hard written drawings by any means. It was just a quick sketch that Craig Miller had put together, so that way people can kind of have a visual concept of what we're thinking of.
And no event center, just strictly a low-key, quiet type restaurant?
At this time, yes. Yeah, we're as far as events. I guess clarify events. I mean, what are you thinking of event?
I'm just asking.
Sure. The village could have their Christmas party there.
Yeah.
That's
live music or something like that?
no, we're not gonna have live music. Nothing like
I'm just asking for other people. Yeah.
No, that's a great question. No, we want to be quiet, quaint.
Every day or certain days or 7 days?
No, it's not gonna be every day. It's not gonna be every day. It's gonna be special hours. Yeah, definitely.
So if I may just jump in here real quickly, how this all came about, Mr. Blickenstaff, Greg's uncle, has been in town. He's doing a hotel here. He's redeveloping the Gray Boys site, and he became aware of the pump house. So the pump house has a whole lot of historic value. It was a Depression era project, and I mean the architecture is beautiful, and if you haven't been inside, it's a very cute building that was built as a pump house, but it's really historically significant. So Mr. Blickenstaff said, I love that building, I love the architecture, I would like to restore it, the brass and the interior, the terrazzo on the inside, and I'd really like to restore it to the way it was meant to be. Right now, the village has no use for that building, and you may see some public works folks going in and out of there, but it's really a vacant building sitting there. And the Centennial building doesn't have a lot of use right now either, other than the American Legion. So I've been, wondering about how we get that water tank down. To me, it's an eyesore. The village needs to do a lot better job of maintaining that property over there. The railroad ties are falling apart. The sidewalks are somewhat crumbling. The trees need to be trimmed. I'd had Mike. I'd seen the shingles on the Centennial building are not in good condition. So Public Works has been over there trying to do cosmetic stuff here and there. We just don't have the money to improve that property like the neighborhood deserves. So anyway, Mr. Blickenstaff said, I'd like to buy that property, and I told him, well, no, we don't want to sell that because it's public property and we want to preserve and have control over that property. But I said we'd be open to leasing it to you. This is how the conversation all started out, but Mr. Berkland is right. I mean, this has to go through zoning, just like everything else. And I mean, if you know our zoning board, they're going to scrutinize everything very closely. All the neighbors within 200 feet will be legally notified about that process. They'll be able to, it'll be a very public process where the zoning board will weigh evidence and make a recommendation to the board on this. So, and in the village, all of the trustees, myself and Dustin, want to facilitate good communication. We want to hear from everyone. There's nothing set in stone. And the reason, again, why the village chose to look at a lease rather than a sell is because we want to have control over that property. So it's really, if you think about it, it has to be a win for the neighborhood. But they're going to come in and improve this property drastically. They're going to take that water tank and make it look appealing instead of an eyesore. They're going to upgrade the exterior of all the buildings, re-landscape, and where they bought the parking lot, before they bought it, the village had to literally go to court. Mr. Walton, we had him very busy spending village money because the person had gone in there and totally trashed the home that was on that site and dug out the entire foundation. We had a house sitting on stilts, basically. So we went through a long process, and now it's Kim Blick and staff has bought that property. That would be, the proposal is that would be the parking lot for that proposed use of the pump house. So as Greg said, Kim bought a house up on Euclid and Clarendon. He's going to be a big part of that neighborhood. So Mary, go ahead.
Just one quick clarification. You said they only have to notify people within 200 feet. That's, I mean, just to be good neighbors, they should notify everyone in that circle. Clarendon, Kingman, you feel what I'm saying? 200 feet is nothing.
We'll make every effort to do that. That's a good point. When we go through the zoning process, that's what's required, isn't it, Council, the 200 feet? But we'll go beyond that, and we'll put it on.
Doesn't get you to that parking lot.
We'll put it on Facebook. We'll put it on our website. We'll do everything we can, as will I hope you will, to reach out even beyond the 200 feet.
I have a question for clarification, please. I've heard a couple of times the 30-year lease mentioned. Last month, there was also the mention of an option to buy after 1 year. Is that option off the table now? Is it just strictly a 30-year lease?
That's something that I'll let council explain that. That's something a couple of the trustees suggested, but I personally oppose selling the property myself, simply because we want control over that. And they're not going to be able to transfer that lease to anyone, and they have to run a good, quiet business there. But council, will you take that question?
Yeah, the option is actually an option for the village to have Mr. Blick and staff buy the property. So it's a choice on the village's part, not on Mr. Blick and staff's.
Right. My concern as someone who lives in that neighborhood is the same as yours, Mayor, that the village relinquishes control if the property is sold rather than leased. And then, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, we don't know that we're experiencing something very different than what we're talking about today.
I promise I will try not to let that happen. And your team doesn't want to buy something that the community doesn't want sold, right?
Correct.
But, and I'll tell you, I hate to reveal my strategy while you're here, but we have a piece of property. If we were going to appraise it, it would probably appraise under a couple $100,000 if we were to sell it. We're going to get $30,000 in annual income. We're still going to own the property, and they're going to improve it to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million or more. That property that we own, re-landscaped, repurposed, rehabbed, and that money will be a windfall for the school as well, because that will go on the tax rolls. Right now, that property is not on the tax roll since we own it. So that will be property tax. It will go directly to our school. And then, of course, we'll see sales tax. And again, it's not always about the money. It's about the neighborhood. We want something right. But if you think about it, there is an empty building that really, and a tank that needs something done to it. So we thought this is a really good solution for everyone, but all voices must be heard and all questions must be answered. And this is just the start of it. And again, this is months, even if everything were to fall into place, this is months away from beginning. You've got a hotel to build, you've got a Grayboy site to build.
Yeah, I've got the PAPS building, I've got a lot on my plate, and honestly, this is a late fall time frame, probably 2020 before I actually get to it. So, but in the meantime, I still want to beautify it and bring it up to where it should be. So, and I'll throw it out there. We'll even look at doing the Centennial building as far as putting new paint on it and help out in that way. So we'll incur the cost of that.
Thank you for clarifying the lease issue.
Hi, my name is Ellen Russell, and I live at 1209 Euclid. I'm right next door to that proposed parking lot.
Okay.
I understand how you want to take the pump house and the well and improve it, and I like that.
Sure.
I'm going to look at it every day out my front door. But I don't like the idea of a parking lot right next to my house, in between two residences. It's just so out of place in the neighborhood.
Sure.
If it's going to be a small, kind of quaint restaurant, why can't people park over here in the parking lot that's already here? That, well, like say on weekends, maybe when it might be open, there aren't many cars there. I mean, people that visit the tower maybe come for a special art show or a craft show.
Sure.
I just don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of people we don't know, I guess, being that close. You know, I've got kids, grandkids, they're all over the neighborhood. The little Wiley Haynes Park is on the corner. It's always filled in the warm months. And it just bothers me to have people we don't know, I guess, coming into the neighborhood.
Sure. Yeah, you know, when we looked at that, we didn't want people parking on the streets and then taking up your spots that you would park in front of your house. That's why we bought that lot, so that way we could put the people there.
It's just so odd though, right in the middle. I mean, I have to, if we want to put new windows on that side of our house, and I'm going to have to look out those windows and look at the parking lot. I mean, I've got a privacy fence.
Sure.
But I still will see the cars, I'll still see the lot. And that, to me, the parking lot's not going to add to our property value. The restaurant probably would, because I understand what you're saying about it, you know, fix it up and standing there doing nothing. And the pump house, I love that idea, but I just can't go for that parking lot.
Sure.
And if I'm paying taxes here, you know, what's the point if there's something so ugly next door to it?
Sure. And we don't want to make it ugly, but I understand what you're saying.
Parking lot's a parking lot.
No, I understand, yeah.
And we don't know, like I said, we don't know who's coming into our neighborhood. I love everything you're doing down there.
Sure.
Downtown, you know?
Yeah.
I do, but I just don't want you to bring it into our quiet neighborhood.
Well, you raise a good point. Can we continue to talk about this?
Yes.
Look at maybe other solutions and...
Yeah, I'm open. I'm willing to listen to suggestions. As I said that to Susan today, you know, I'm open-minded. So is Kim. He's probably more open-minded than I am, to be honest with you. So, most definitely.
Is he definitely 100% sure that he wants that to be a restaurant? Is there any way he might make that into something else that wouldn't be so disruptive to the residents that live over there? Like, if it's got so much history to it, and if it was redone and it's beautiful on the inside, maybe like a museum type thing where people could come and visit that, or...
Well, we did talk about that, but you still have traffic flow. You still have to put people somewhere for parking.
Yeah, right over here in the parking lot. It's already there.
Yeah, but I don't know if people, yeah.
You should do it, because maybe there's a friend there, and they'll walk right over to it. It's just right across the street. We walked over here so that they can walk over there.
Sure.
Now, back to the parking lot, are you going to have access to the alley behind the parking lot?
I honestly don't know. I have not even gotten that far with...
My mom and I live on Prospect, and as of right now, we've got the alley that we can go out, and we were worried about people just deciding, hey, we're going to come out the back, and we're going to come and go down the alley, or we're going to come out and go out our driveway.
Sure.
Well, without improvements, that alley's not going to support any additional traffic. I mean, we're going to have to talk about that too, because I would not be in favor at this point, without the alley being improved, of using that alley to access the parking lot. It's just, it's very narrow, and it's not straight either, so.
I'm sorry.
How are people going to pull in and out of Kingman? Are we not going to be able to park on Kingman either? The curb. There's street parking on it now.
Okay.
So is that how the parking will be taken away from a parking lot?
Well, that's why we bought that property, the lot, to put people there in that parking lot versus putting people on Kingman and Euclid, yeah.
In and out there, it's a curb, it's a narrow street.
Yeah, sorry, can you answer that question?
Parking inside in that area is heavy. Whenever they have a tower, the park movies, you can 3 blocks down and park on the side of the street. There's no sidewalks. You can get one car through there.
Sure.
Before the restaurant was in there. That's happening now.
And forget about backing out of your driveway and being able to see.
There's no sidewalks. People walk in the street with strollers.
Sure.
And the density there is really bad.
You know,
I think one single lot is going to fix that.
We're happy to try and, we can arrange some tours of the pump house. If you haven't seen the pump house, it is very small. I mean, I don't know how, you're not going to get very many tables in a small building.
It is very, very small. It's going to be a very quaint, like a European type of restaurant.
I mean, if it happens, it will be the smallest restaurant in Peoria Heights, I would think.
Yes.
Most neighbors in that area are okay with that.
Okay. For the parking? Well, that's one of the things that Kim looked at when he saw that, and he saw that house, or that lot, and that's when he asked Julie to look into it, and that's why he purchased it, just for that fact, just to try to keep people off the side streets and put them in that parking lot.
Some of the neighbors are even concerned about Gaines Park, especially when they turn into the parking lot. Yeah, that's a gym.
Oh, no,
I mean, not now. But
no, we would have,
development moves forward.
no, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. Kids are more important to me than anything else, and kids need a place to go, so that will never happen.
Go ahead.
Hi, I live in Colony, I live at 1111, so I'm 3 houses down from the park. My question about the lot is, I too have a 8-year-old that rides a bike with the neighborhood kids. They go down the place, down the alley, they kind of do a loop right there. And you know what I'm talking about? They do this little loop. But, I mean, they're little. I mean, they're like second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and so on. But the amount of traffic and the amount of cars, how many cars, people, traffic, anticipation, I mean, like how many cars is this lot gonna hold? How that people are in the restaurant? Yes, like size-wise. Because right now, what they're saying about our neighborhood is it is very quiet and very low-key, but as far as children go, it's very safe. I mean,
Sure.
You can be at one end of your block, your child can ride their bike, right down here, turn around, go right back, and it's fine. So like that dynamic with the park, I mean, people drive to that park because they like the park, but the kids that live around the park just ride their bikes. So, or walk, yes. So, but that's a very active little area as far as kids go. So I'm just wondering size-wise.
Well, then you're going to have alcohol, right? You're going to have people driving and drinking alcohol and right next to a kiddie park. It really is kind of constrained.
Isn't there another park down here right by the square that has, I forget what,
You're not going to have alcohol at this one?
no, we'll probably have wine.
Well, they'll have to apply for a liquor license, so there's a lot of steps to go through it. Zoning, a liquor license, parking issues.
Right.
This is just the beginning of everything, and we want to hear input from everyone as this moves forward.
I have some comments that I'd like to address to the board, but not in this kind of, with you as a go-between, so.
Me?
Yeah. I just want to make sure I get my 5 minutes worth.
Sure. You want to come up?
Yeah, we're open for, so come forward and give your name, please, and you've got 5 minutes.
Thanks. My name's Derek Samoji. I live at 5105 North Prospect. I've emailed the Board of Trustees, and I'm also the one that delivered the flyers around the neighborhood. I just wanted to make sure that people were aware that this subject is coming up. I will call this out as just being entirely inappropriate for the neighborhood. It's for all the reasons that restaurants usually don't show up in the middle of residential neighborhoods. Tons of good points. I jotted down a few. Most importantly, this will be disruptive to the regular lives of the people that live in the neighborhood. There will be garbage dumpsters that have beer bottles thrown in them and that get emptied. There will be delivery trucks coming and going. There will be lots more automotive traffic. There will be nighttime noises, lights. There will be outdoor dining and consumption of alcohol right next to the park. There's an insufficient number of parking spots, especially because there's a nearby children's park and there are residents who park on the streets. It's very close to the neighboring residences. Let's see. The parking lot issue. It's not a parking lot. It is currently a residential property where there was once a home, recently a home. It might have been in bad shape. It's been torn down. There are 2 houses right next to it, and then there are 3 houses right behind it, right across the alley. You're talking about a parking lot in the middle of 5 residential spots where there are houses. What lights will go in the parking lot? How many of the square feet of that parking lot can be covered by pavement? And what will a parking lot do to the neighboring home values? Are all questions that I think should be thoroughly considered. I'll point out that there's a high demand for residential property in this neighborhood. There have been several instances of houses right over here that have been purchased, removed, and new residences put up in their place. That's high demand for residential use of that property. There are plenty of other event centers and restaurants and bars in the Heights already, but more importantly, there are numerous open locations where the next restaurant for the Heights could go. The Pabst Building, the building where Noir is, unfortunately went out of business recently. Emac and Bolio's I see is on the market. I walked by Bubble Bar recently and see that they've gone out of business. Those are all in the main commercial and restaurant district of this neighborhood. So here's my ask of the board. It's to suspend moving forward with the lease transaction. It's my understanding that the timeline is not demanding of an immediate agreement. I'd say suspend any further work on leasing the property. I'd ask that the board do a thorough investigation of all the issues that would be implicated by putting such a development in the neighborhood. Contact all the neighbors, the board, not the developer. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. We're still at public comment. Anyone else, please come forward. Okay, public comment going once, going twice. We'll close on public comment, on to old business. Any old business come from the board? Okay, hearing none, right into new business. The first is a request for approval of payment in the amount of $4,125 to K-Hoy Pump Service for well testing completed on well number 11. Trustee Harn, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I make a motion to approve payment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Harn.
Thank you, Mayor Phelan. We had a situation with one of our wells where the water was coming out, it looked milky, and what that indicates is there's nothing wrong with the water, but it's getting air. The well's sucking air from the top, from the surface down to the bottom of the well, and this payment is to K-Hoy Pump Service. They mobilized their equipment, went out, did some testing, figured out what the problem was. And so I make a motion, we approve payment to them for diagnosing the problem, and then the next request for approval, I'll go into the problem.
Okay, I think we got the motion down to second, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, any questions for Trustee Harn? Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn?
Aye.
Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal?
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal?
Aye.
Okay, next is a request for approval of work to be completed by K-Hoy Pump Service to well number 11 with an estimated cost of $19,238. Trustee Harn, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion, we approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, back to you, Brian.
Okay, this is for work that needs to be done to the well to correct the problem. It has not been done yet. It's here for approval. So the work that needs to be done is they will have to probably pull the well out. It's 150 feet deep. And what happens is when you drill a well, you'll drill your well into your vein of sand and gravel, and you put a casing down there. On the end of your casing, it looks like a colander in your kitchen, and you put your well pump down inside the casing, and the well pump pushes water up. Well, it sucks on the reservoir. It pulls water in, and over time, you start to get iron deposits coming through the sand and gravel. The sand and gravel itself starts to pack around this screen. And so what's happened is the screen itself has a little hole in it, and there's iron that's plugging it up. So they're wanting to go down there and they'll pull the well out of the well, and they might have to pull the screens out also and do a chemical treatment to the well screens and put it all back together and get it working correctly. And the total on that is the $19,238. We presently have 5 wells that are in operation in the village of Peoria Heights, and all of our water is well water. We don't treat any river water.
Trustee Harn, excellent explanation to a complex problem. So any questions for Trustee Harn?
So could this go out to bid to anyone else, or this price is about what we're going to be paying, or?
It's if you went out to bid for someone else, they would have to send their own team in to re-diagnose the same problem. They wouldn't trust Cahoya's assessment of what's wrong. So it's kind of a deal where you probably should just get it fixed. I mean, I know it's 20 grand, so we have to be respectful of that, but at the same time, it's our water, you know? So I think if it's reasonable and it's in line with what's been done in the past,
it's
similar type work.
It's pretty compatible with Lane Western, so they're all about the same level for us. We've had it done before, so it's just something that happens, and like almost like routine maintenance almost. But
yeah, if it was like 35,000 or something, then it would raise an eyebrow. It would be why, and then at that point you would want to go out and get competitive bids.
And then how long will this fix last, do they say?
Well, it just depends. There's no way to know how wells, some last longer than other wells.
yeah, it depends on the aquifer and how the aquifer acts.
The particulates that are around the well casing itself. Some have finer materials, some have coarser materials, and the coarser material well packs are better than the finer ones. So
yeah, I think you get about 10, 15 years, somewhere around there, I bet. We pulled them out before, so I call it almost routine maintenance, but if the screens and stuff fail, it's like taking a straw and poking a hole in the side, and you're sucking your soda or whatever, and all of a sudden you're getting air from somewhere else, and then it mixes with it, so.
Plus, on everyone's water bill, part of that water bill, everyone notices a little increase on their water bills every year, and part of it is the infrastructure maintenance fees, and this will come out of the infrastructure maintenance fees, and that really is exactly what that fee is for just this situation. And you need to kind of start putting money ahead, because you've seen we just spent over $1 million redoing the water towers and painting the inside, painting the outside. We're always working on our pressure reducing valves and water mains, and it's an ongoing battle. But I forgot to announce this under my public works part. Peoria Heights just won the Illinois Water System Award granted by the Illinois Rural Water Association, and that's based on 2 things. One is the infrastructure improvements that you've done to your water system, and 2 is the water reports that we send to the EPA monthly. Ours are very consistent and spot on, and so we won this award. I don't know how many different water districts were in it, but it's pretty prestigious. It's something. So yeah, we're doing very good.
We just found that out today. So. Okay, good job, Trustee Harn. Any other questions for Trustee Harn? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Okay, and that passes. Next is a request for approval of payment to Hassel Levine in the amount of $3,707.50 for capital request work. Trustee Dan Mariscal, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve payment to House Levine in the amount of $3,707.50.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Mariscal.
I'm actually going to defer to Administrator Sutton for this item.
Thank you, Trustee. Just a brief update. I just received today preliminary capital bill summary draft from Hassel Levine, and that outlines a couple of the candidates that we'll be applying for, one being Route 29, the other one Prospect Road improvements, and the draft goes into full detail on what they're proposing, and it also ties into our small area study that we did years ago. But this will be, I'll send this out to the board tomorrow, and we'll have discussion on that probably February 26th. And as I mentioned last meeting, there'll also be a public comment time where we'll have the drawings and everything else. We want the public input before we move forward. So just very good news. I just went through it briefly. It looks very good, and like I said, we'll be putting in both for Galena Road and Prospect Roads.
So thank you. So those of you who may not have heard, the state legislature, along with the governor, want to move a capital bill forward for infrastructure in the state of Illinois, and we're preparing to get in line to make our ask on that bill. And as Dustin said, we really want to focus a lot of attention on Galena Road, Route 29. We feel it's a public safety matter. The traffic is way too fast there, so we're going to be asking IDOT to put in a turn lane and a traffic signal and bicycle lanes and sidewalks on both sides of that highway, and also to try and work to increase the connectivity between above hill Peoria Heights and below hill. So, we feel that Galena Road is really ripe and ready for both residential and commercial development. They feel there'd be a whole lot more houses that could be built if the road could be calmed and that highway could be slowed down. So that's one of the projects we're going to be asking for, and then also Prospect Road. So as we talked about money earlier, the village right now just is not in a position to be improving roads, but we're trying to get to that point, and these are two really important projects for us. So this Hassel-Levine is what the company or the consultant we've used to help us do the small area studies. Any other questions or discussion on that? Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Hart.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
That passes. Next is a request for a street seat purchase in the amount of $4,390 for Oleo and Vino. Trustee Mariscal.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to purchase a street seat in the amount of $4,390 for Oleo and Vino.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Mariscal.
Thank you, Mayor. If you all recall, I believe the last meeting, we had the business owners come up. They made an official request to have a street seat placed outside in front of their business. This is just formal approval for that. If you all recall, we decided to move it to this meeting, so unless you all have any other questions, that should be it.
Just to add that we're really lucky to have Stephanie Brock doing business here in the village, a family-owned, woman-owned business that Oleo and Vino, and her business is doing so well that she wanted to ask for a street seat. The street seats, as you know, were purchased by the village, and we are purchasing this one. But that generates a whole lot more sales tax. So if we're doing the numbers, we feel those are going to pay for themselves, and probably the first year and a half in additional sales tax revenue that we see, and it's generated a whole lot of interest and more foot traffic in the village. So it's nice to have Stephanie's business growing as well. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Trustee Hart.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Okay, next, ordinance 2019-1583, an ordinance creating an 8th Class A1 liquor license within the corporate limits of the Village of Peoria Heights. Trustee Diane Mariscal, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 8th Class A1 liquor license within the corporate limits of the village. This would be ordinance 2019-1583.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
This again was brought to our attention at the last meeting that we had from Oleo and Vino. They were wanting to request a liquor license to be able to sell. I believe they can only sell beer and wine as of right now, but they want the street seating there in the front, and they also have a really nice patio area out in the back. And they would like to be able to serve some specialty cocktails, maybe margaritas or whatever they choose. But without this liquor license, they would not be able to do that. So they're asking for us to approve another A1 liquor license for them.
Okay, thank you. Questions or discussion? Council, anything you'd add on this?
No, just as a reminder to everyone, the board sets the number of liquor licenses in each classification, and then the mayor as liquor commissioner grants actual applications. But the way the board controls that is you control the number of licenses. So we usually don't have extra licenses available. And when somebody comes and applies, that way the board can have a little bit of control over the number of licenses that are floating out there. That's why this ordinance needs to be approved by the board.
Thank you. Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett. Aye. Trustee Dan Mariscal. Aye. Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next, a request for use of Tower Park for worship concerts on Sunday, June 9th and Sunday, September 29th. Trustee Dan Mariscal, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the use of Tower Park for the worship concerts on Sunday, June 9th and Sunday, September 29th.
And a second, please.
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Trustee Mariscal.
I don't believe this agenda item warrants any further explanation.
Okay, any questions, anyone? Any discussion?
It's important to note that no tickets are sold or anything like that. It's just open to the public. It's just open to the public, yeah. Everyone's welcome to come in and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Do you know if this is held by any specific church? Or
I thought it was the Heights Congregational Church.
It's an organization,
oh, it is?
a local one. Mhm.
And is it just music or like an actual?
What they've done in the past, it's very short. They just do a few songs. It's a very small group that probably generates under 30 people.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal. Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
All right, that passes. Next, the appointment of Joan Krupa to CityLink. I would ask for a motion to approve that appointment.
I make the motion we approve Joan Krupp to the city.
Is there a second?
A second.
All right, any discussion? Just thanks to Joan for her service, and we're lucky to have her representing us. So if you're ready for the question, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
All right, congratulations to Joan. Next is the approval of the employee handbook. Trustee Diane Mariscal, I'd ask for a motion to approve that.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the new and improved employee handbook.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, Diane.
We also talked about this at the last meeting, and Eric was here as well. We've been working for months on trying to get this updated. Chief Sutton and Eric Christian have worked really hard to make sure that everything is, new laws have been put in there and everything is legal. I believe council also took a look at it to make sure that everything that needed to be in there was in there. So once we approve this, then it would go out to the employees, and training on that. The new updates to the handbook would be on February the 28th.
Anything you'd add, Chief Sutton? All right. Questions for Trustee Mariscal? Discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn.
Aye.
Trustee Gett.
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal.
Aye.
Trustee Diane Mariscal.
Aye.
Okay. Next is the treasurer's report. Madam Clerk?
The grand total in the Village of Peoria Heights account for January 2019 was $1,992,997.60. And the grand total for the Peoria Heights Waterworks account as of January 2019 was $727,425.13.
All right, I'd ask for a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All right, any discussion on the motion? Questions on the report? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Trustee Harn? Aye. Trustee Gett?
Aye.
Trustee Dan Mariscal? Aye. Trustee Diane Mariscal?
All right, real quickly, Sarah, before we adjourn, would you give a quick update on the art walk then?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit more detail about the Easter egg hunt.
Okay, sure. There's still some details being finalized, but April 20th in the park, we're going to have a free community event. It's an Easter egg hunt, and what we're going to do is we're going to have an Easter bunny here. We'll have some kind of little Easter egg scavenger hunt in our downtown, leading up to the Easter Bunny here in Tower Park, where we'll do an Easter egg hunt for children 12 and under, and we'll have pictures with the Easter Bunny and then a Julie K. Easter concert following that, free to the community. We're really excited about that. And then on Saturday, May 11th, Mother's Day weekend, we're going to have a Peoria Heights Fine Arts Fair, and I sit in with the Arts Committee, so this is a group effort. We're going to have one lane of Prospect closed down, and it will be filled with fine artists displaying their work available for purchase. And then there's also going to be here in the park like food vendors and music, and we're also working on getting some sidewalk chalk artists that will be throughout our downtown or in the park kind of live chalking, so you can kind of see what they're creating. So we're pretty excited about that. And once again, that's Saturday, May 11th. And very soon here, we will have a flyer for our Easter event, which will go on the website. And we'll have a summer events calendar that will show the arts fair as well as all of our movie nights and everything. So keep an eye on our
Movie
website.
night, real quick.
Yeah.
Update on movie night.
Sure. So last year we had 3 summer movie nights. This year we're going to do 5. Can't remember the dates at the top of my head, but they're all the first Saturday of every month, June, July, and August. And then we have 2 Thursday night movies that we're adding, like themed nights. We're wanting to do a teen night and like a date night as well. Of course, all family friendly, so the family can still come. So we're just trying to do something a little new with that this year. So, and then of course we will have our Halloween event, and that will be a movie, and we're still discussing the movie on that. So something to look forward to.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Gett?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Yes.